And I was like, nah, I can't do that because my current job needed me. They were really understaffed. It was a period of time where if I had left, I just think it would have caused a lot of problems for the team.
Yeah.
So
they were giving you an opportunity to be a law,
I turned it down, and that struck him. That amazed him. It didn't offend him. I hope it didn't offend him.
Yeah,
that amazed him. And
should ask him if that offer's still on the table.
I know, right? That amazed him that I said no.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Nathan went to him, they had their meetings. Corporate was like, "No, we don't want to do it." You know, that position. You can work with a firearm at other posts, but this one is a law enforcement post. So the weight of it was serious. And CPOs were supposed to be elite, was what corporate was saying. They were like, no, he can't do it. He's not one of the elites. And so I think it took me about a year of them having meetings. And eventually Nathan came down and said, look, I got the captain to sign a contract for you. And that contract amended my ability I got a firearm.
Yeah.
And then the right things came into place. The last two supervisors ended up moving on to something. I think they opened up other posts that were better opportunities for them. They went to them, and then supervisor slot became available for me. And it was crazy because it was unanimous. The deputies were like, that's his job. And I ended up getting it. It was crazy. So again,
that's awesome, man.
Work, even if it's not your job. When I had that fight, people were like, that's not your job. And I was like, but that was the right thing to do. But I had so much resistance. They're like, that's not your job. But I've always worked with a mentality of just do it. If you can do it, just do it. And it got me to where I am today. So for any kind of inspiration, people can use that, whether it's your job or not, whether you're qualified or not. If you can do it, do it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, bro. That's what's up, man. So what challenges have you faced on your path to becoming proficient in self-defense, man? Techniques.
What challenges have I faced? So obviously I'm left-handed and everything's more expensive when you're left-handed.
And the reason why I'm asking that question is because, obviously you got the USCCA clothing on and you briefly touched it just in this last story. So self-defense is kind of the direction I'm moving in with this first question. And then we're going to get into the USCCA stuff.
So one more time, give me the question one more time. What challenges have I faced?
Absolutely. And becoming more proficient in your self-defense techniques.
So I just went straight into, so I looked up what I could do to further myself, right?
Yeah.
And so there was a website, the company, USCCA, they offer you classes, coursework. So I took those classes, but instead of doing 1, 2, and 3, I took one singular class that was all of them. And it was $1,200, $1,400.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, shit, man, this is a lot at once. I kind of jumped straight into everything, but I just moved with confidence. And I studied so much that I'm a good test taker.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to waste $1,200. And you only had one chance. And this instructor called me. He's like, yo, we're doing FBI level certification. He's like, you're going to have to shoot at FBI level. And I was like, shit. I'm just doing statewide G license courses and they're not really like that. They're making sure I pass. Like, this dude's going to take my money. So I had to go home every day at the end of work, take my issued firearm and unholster it. I did 50 to 100 repetitions a day. Okay. Just unholstering and drawing. And that's a workout. By the way,
can be, absolutely.
Oh my God!
To properly remove your weapon from the holster, absolutely, and draw and be on target.
You would never imagine. It took me a while to work up to 100 reps. That did not happen. I think I did 25, took a break, and then did another 25, and then I was like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah.
So I had to do that every single day, and then I had to study to the point where I would use somebody else, teach them, and then have it teach it back to me. And if they were teaching it back to me, I knew they were correct. So then I knew I was correct because they're correct.
Yeah.
So I had to already be comfortable with teaching.
Yeah.
Because I knew that was where I was going to end up.
Trying to become your own dummy.
So I remember I went and we all shot. I had a class of 4, which is a small class, but again, it's a $1,200 class. I don't know if there's supposed to be a lot of people that are in those classes. And everybody failed but me. It was crazy. And
that's awesome.
One of the guys, it was a domino effect because one guy, he started crying. And hopefully he doesn't watch this video. But he broke down. He failed in the shooting section. I barely made it, but I made it through the state. I didn't make it through his. So he's like, you're going to have to come back. He's like, technically through this company, you made it. But he's like, but I made it harder. He's like, I made it FBI. So now you got to come back. So I was like under a weird technicality where he was going to make me come back. But everybody else didn't even make it through the company's requirements.
Yeah.
And so they broke down, and it turned into something the instructor probably wasn't proud of. I know about that. And everybody else, he was like, all right, you guys want to go to lunch? And so nobody else came back with me. And I was like, are we even going to be able to finish this course? He's like, yeah, you're going to teach me. And I was like, fuck, man. It was nerve-wracking. That class, it was 3 days. That was the hardest part of my life ever, I think. I didn't want to finish. I was so over it. It was because they mess with your mind. Because you got to shoot under pressure. You got to shoot in the fight or flight response. So he purposely fucked with you. During class, he purposely heckled. He would purposely do everything he can to throw you off your game. He asked me, he said, hey, are you familiar with the legal use of force? I'm like, yeah, we can talk about that. Let me go over that slide. He goes, nah, we're going to talk about one that you're not good at. I'm like, fuck, man. So I went through that, and I remember I got halfway through the FBI level course. And I remember I sent a picture to my fiance because he had to step off for a minute. I'm like, I'm making it. I'm about to make this.
Yeah.
And when he came back, the very next course obstacle that I had to complete, I completely butchered it. I think it was like 7 rounds, 3 seconds, and I think I hit 1. And he's like, you can miss one more shot. And I'm like, nah, I fucked up, and I'm about to lose this $1,200. And so the last one that I had to do was like 20 yards, shoot 4 rounds, kneel, shoot another 4, reload, and then holster up, and then, halt, put everything away and stop, all in like 15 seconds or something like that. And I remember he's like, you can miss one more shot. He's like, you better go. And I just did it. I didn't care, didn't put any thought into it. I just released myself and shot, and I made it. We counted those shots. He's like, you passed. And I remember those instructors were like, you got a talent. And it was incredible.
That's awesome, man. So that was your USCCA certification.
Yeah.
Was that to become an instructor?
Yes.